right. Hey Gigi, how are you? Well,
Rocking, man.
is that how you go by nowadays,
Yeah,
Gigi?
that's been
Okay,
it for 30 years. Yeah,
awesome. So how are you, man?
doing great. Just rocking and rolling, man. Just keeping it moving forward, and looking forward to this post-COVID resurgence of rock and metal. So
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely, yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely on the rise.
Yeah. All right. So what are we up to? What's up with you?
just hooking up with a bunch of old friends, and working with a couple of Leatherwolf guys and a few other of my friends from around this area, and some LA guys in LA, and putting together some new tunes and trying to put a new project together to get book some shows and hit the road, right? And do some shows and some really cool, exciting stuff with VR concerts and things like that. So I'm looking to dominate that space, or to at least take a little slice of it with a handful of pretty powerful guys we're working on.
You said VR concerts.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
going to
deal with
be.
that?
Uh,
How does that work?
well, I mean, what I can tell you now is we're already doing prototype stuff, and a lot of it's going to be all the way from raves to super hardcore metalcore, and bands playing on green screen, and they can be set on Saturn and stuff, and just people can log in from anywhere around the planet with their headsets and just cruise around this virtual space and with complete autonomy, and it's going to be pretty badass. And the musicians, we can have all our own I could be like a Teletubby, wouldn't but we're just cranking our tunes, and or we have rendered versions of ourselves, and be up there playing virtual concerts live with the real music, and I'll have a choice between watching the band play or watching the VR version, and it's
Hmm.
going to be just going to allow access from anywhere. And we're just me and a handful of guys are putting it together. They've been working on it for years, like 15 years, and they asked me to come in and consult and be a part of some of the production and music part of it. And so I'm putting together a group that's going to just kick ass, like just like when video killed the radio star. Remember, back in the olden days, it's
Yeah.
going to be the same type of thing where bands are not going to really. They're going to have an option not to just go out and tour live to places they'd never be able to get to anyway, and to reach fans everywhere. So that's kind of exciting. That's really what I've been working on for a while, and I'll give you more on it when I have more.
Well,
The
I mean that sounds
Silicon
exciting.
Valley Enterprise. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of
Well,
I
money
bet
going to it.
that's going to be really cool.
Fuck yeah, dude! It's insane.
That'll look great.
So yeah,
so,
that's pretty much it. As much as I'd love to get Noize Toys back together, I'm still working on that too.
any new music, maybe?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of new music. I could send you some. I could probably play a couple tunes behind me right now. It's not going to sound too good over the mic or over the camera, but I could send you a couple things, and all
Yeah.
different kinds of stuff. So I
Yeah.
could play you I could play you something, but we'll do that in a little bit.
Okay. Sure.
That's
I'd
cool.
rather
Yeah.
send you something and you can cut it in later, right?
That.
Santi, that would be a first for the show, right? Have somebody playing on the show. That'd be a first.
Really?
Huh?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
Not
guy
since I've
from
been
since
co-hosting with you.
it was the first one since you came. Like, the guy from Gingerly, and he played a couple songs, one
Oh, there
song,
you go.
but on a previous episode. But it would be, yeah, it
I
would
don't need to
be.
break any glass ceilings around here or nothing. That's not what I'm looking to do. But yeah, I'll send you some tunes. Uh, yeah, no worries.
That'd be
Awesome, man.
cool.
So you got a pretty cool home studio there.
Yeah. I just been putting it back together since I moved to this new house recently, a few months ago, and moved my family over here. It's badass, man. We have a media room, it's a movie theater. So
Oh,
it's like
wow.
got stadium type seating with giant recliners and a 100-inch TV and Sonos surround everywhere. It's rocks the house. And because I got my mom and my brother and my kids just love to watch. We crank up like Lightyear and stuff, just shakes the house down. So and we play
It's
concerts and
nice,
stuff down here too. So it's pretty bitching.
Got
nice.
any
So
room for any podcast hosts for to party at your place?
Hell yeah, you guys come on down. You guys can broadcast from here. Absolutely. We're a couple miles from the beach, pretty close, in SoCal. It's pretty nice out here, man. And yeah, I put the studio together though. It just needs to be functional. You can see back there, I got this TV that I can use for monitoring film and stuff when I'm like cutting a score or something like that, or just watching TV. And then got my other monitors, primary and secondary monitor for running Logic or any video editing, Premiere type programs for editing videos, and got all the gear I need. My keyboard, everything works really well. I can play almost anything here, except violin. Don't you get me on a violin? No, I can play violin on the keyboard fine. But yeah, it's a good studio. Totally functional, kicks ass. So
Awesome.
I mean,
Awesome.
I can play something real quick if you want to hear a couple notes blasting out of it.
Yeah,
Sure, go ahead.
Let's see how it goes.
Let's hear you rock out. Yeah. It's kind of faded, but
A little bit.
yeah,
I don't know if that's too loud going through this. Too loud going through the camera mic or something, but
maybe. Yeah. Well, the platform has like this noise removal software, so maybe that's why it's getting.
But yeah, it's
like,
probably interfering with that.
Yeah.
well, there you go. It's probably time.
Yeah. All right. So let's take it back a little bit.
Sure, man.
So I have the Noise Toys album here,
Cool.
which is really cool. I don't know. This is a Japanese version. I don't know if it's a bootleg or not. I mean, might be, but I got it.
Do you have the Obi strip in it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it's a
that.
Russian boot, I think, but
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't bother spending 10 cents to boot that strip anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it would be more.
It's just a piece of
credible.
paper. Yeah, it would.
But yeah,
Anyway.
so I've been hearing this a lot today, and it's a really cool album. I like it a lot. So I want to know more about this. How did Noise Toys came to be?
My story might be different than Tripp's or something, but Dana and Tripp, the original bassist and Glenn Holland, Tripp, right? They had the band going for a little while, and they had a different singer, different guitarist, and I was in a different band at the time called Royalties. And we were playing all over the place. We played with Poison and at the Santa Ana Stadium shows and stuff like that, and Hurricane, all those bands. And
Nice.
I quit the band over a dispute one day, and after about 2 weeks, I was getting really itchy to play again. So down here in Orange County, I went to Jezebel's nightclub, really rock and roll nightclub back in the day, and I saw Noise Toys playing, and I was thinking, God, that singer sucks, or that's not fair. I was thinking they'd be a lot better with me. That's really all they need in that band is me fronting the band. It was, they had the cool colors, and it looked like an Easter egg hunt type of colors. And, Tripp, I think, had 3 bass drums out there, and they were just, just fun party music. And so I went backstage and I said, hey, you guys, man, you should have me in this band. And they had known me. I've known Glenn since Licorice Pizza, like 20 years before or something. He always had this big blonde poofy hairdo. He's always a cool guy working at Licorice Pizza. And so he said, he told me later that when they saw us at Santa Ana Stadium or Pacific Amphitheater, one of those places we played with Johnny Rotten's band or something, he said, well, we need a front man like that, And so that's what he told me. And then so I said, yeah, man, kick out that singer. I'll play in your band and we'll dominate. And they said, okay. We rehearsed for 2 weeks. They had another show. And, the rest was history. Everyone started liking us a lot. We had both our followings together. And I was, I guess people had said I was an improvement over their last singer a lot. So it was fun and we were rocking it. And, I was getting ready after about 6 months. We were, we're headlining all over Hollywood and we were doing really well. And I was ready to quit the band. I was ready to join my old band back again. And then that night we had a show, and at that show we got offered, 2 record deals that night. and so
Oh
one with
wow.
Enigma and one with Dr. Dream. And I think Enigma had like bands like a whole bunch of bands like even Poison or somebody. They had bands like that, you know. And so I said, well, I guess my other band's gonna have to, wait. And so we took off from there. And we moved up to Hollywood. I said, we got to go to Hollywood, got to move to Hollywood. And because we did everything we could in Orange County and we've been playing LA all the time, we just need to move there, next
Right.
step. And release our album, move to Hollywood. So moved to Hollywood, and Dana said he didn't, the bass player, one of the founders of the band, um, unfortunately said he didn't want to go, didn't want to move. So we're going, oh, fuck, come on, man. Let's go. And so we ended up getting Ricky as our bass player, and he was a friend of the band for years. And and he was actually Dana's, bass tech and roadie for all those years. So he joined the band, and when we were actually recording the album, the other guitarist that was in the band, Pete Downs, he wasn't cutting it, so I ended up playing all the tracks on the album. And then near the end, we'd been auditioning guitar players everywhere, and I found Doug, and he just one of those pull the tabs off an ad in a rehearsal studio. And he'd never been in a band before, and he was good, but he didn't even know how to stand up and play at the same time. So but he played so well, and he could take direction really well. So I helped groom him, and we did, start walking slow, and then after a while, we choreographed the shit out of it, rehearsed out everything for a few months, and maybe a month, just every day. They called me Der Fuhrer, because I was like, I was really working him hard to really make the show totally pro, right? And so that we got Doug, and I brought him in at the end of the record. We went in and retracked half the leads or more, because he was so good. He's such a good player. And so all the blazing leads on there pretty much are him. My stuff's like, I have like 5 or 6 leads on the album. A couple of them are really good, but it's nothing like his playing. He was great. So I think the combination of all that, and then we just started dominating in Hollywood everywhere. It was us and a couple other bands like Tough and Pretty Boy Floyd and all them. But I'm not exactly sure. We went on the road a bunch, played all over the place. So it was good. It was great. Anyway, I know I went a little further than how the band got started, but that's kind of how it did. It evolved into from the original lineup to the lineup that you probably know on that record and for many videos or whatever. Yeah.
So was there why did you choose Dr. Dream over Enigma?
Enigma they were signing a bunch of bands. They were on like a signing spree. So and Dr. Dream was local down there, and he knew Trip from before, because I guess they work on Red Cross album or the Joneses record or something. And Glenn was the drummer in the Joneses too. And he pledged that he was going to, put a lot of effort into us and a lot of push, to get our record out there and promo and licensing and everything else. And we weren't really getting the same feeling and the same vibe from Enigma, which ended up going belly up like a year after anyway. So, but that's why we ended up going with Dr. Dream. On the promise of a bigger push from a smaller team versus a smaller push from a potentially bigger team. And at the beginning it seemed okay, but then I had problems with them the whole time. They wouldn't put our logo on the record, and they would they and stuff like that. It was just like it seemed to cut a lot of corners to me. But they licensed us in Japan, which was good, and we got to go play all over. And it would have been nice to have tour support. All I wanted was a really good video, just one.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the budget for it, or they set their sights on some other bands that they were doing. So we said, okay, we'll circle back around on that. We got so many shows. We're going out on the road, but I really wanted that video, man. One video would have done it.
Yeah, I mean that was a big deal back then.
Yeah, I mean with Talk Dirty to Me and all that shit, all we needed was one good video, and we had a lot of good songs. I think they could have done something for it. But that's the way the cookie crumbled on that one. And we went through a handful of managers and stuff like that too. I don't know if it was drug money from one of them, and it was all just kind of weird stuff. But being a good band's one thing. It's just so many other pieces have to fall in line to make that next step. So we went on tour, and then the timing also was a kind of a thing because then Nirvana came out and kind of like killed the scene a little bit.
Right.
And I'd
Yeah.
been working with Guns N' Roses for like a year up to that point when that happened. So
What were you
Nice.
doing with GNR?
I was Axel stand-in on a couple of videos, and Slash is my buddy. So I got that gig. So um, that was pretty cool. And then I was trying to find any way to do any kind of show with them, or just open up, and when they're playing a stinky club, let us do something, And
Yeah.
but it was kind of out of their hands at that point. They were just exploding, with "Don't Cry in November Rain" and all that. And that's when I was working with them. And then Slash got married to Perla and kind of blew up all his friends, really. So anyway, but I got to go to a bunch of concerts.
It can't be that.
No, it was
So
cool. I got some really good pictures of me and Axel and his girlfriends and stuff.
so
Oh,
on the liner notes, right, from the album,
Yeah,
there's at one point you guys thank the Beverly Hills PD. He says for letting Spot go. So what's
yeah.
the story behind
Really,
that?
that's funny. I haven't heard that one in a while. I'll give you the short version. I got busted for a stupid offense, and I ended up in the Beverly Hills jail, and it was really like jaywalking or something. Back in the old days, the strip would empty out at like 1 in the morning when the clubs closed, and there was like 1,000 people in the street just going to their cars and partying in the street every night from Thursday to Sunday. And we kind of dominated that scene. So it was like flyer wars and bands out there hustling and doing their stuff, and it was the absolute heyday. There's like a couple of movies about like the decline of Western civilization 2 and 3 and all those. I'm in one of those too a little bit, but um, those movies. I mean, that's I was like jaywalking or something at the end of the night, and cops go, "You get over here!" I go, "No," and I ran and stuff. And me and Doug, I think it was Doug and I, and I was hammered, and it was the end of the night, and so I go, "Okay, whatever." It was a lady cop, one of them. So I go, "Okay, right?" She was cute, and
Right.
what are they gonna do? I'm just jaywalking. So I said something snappy or smacked her on the butt or something, and so they just cuffed me and they said, "You're going to jail." And so they took me to jail, and it was so bitching. It was like I was the only one in there, and it was like a super clean, my own giant cell, and so I started singing, right? And I'm singing. I was taking requests. I go, "What do you guys want to hear?" And that lady cop was still in there. She goes, "Journey." So I started singing some Journey songs. Oh, here I am, and all this stuff. And then I was doing any request they wanted. About 20 minutes later, they come and they said, "You're free to go." So that was kind of it. I got it. I'd like to think it was because of my serenading the cop, but
did you get her number at least?
no,
Oh,
I had to get back. I wanted to get back out there. The band was, waiting to party, and they knew that I had got locked up, so they were kind of itching to see what was happening. They didn't know what was I getting busted for, but it was really just a harmless, fun thing. But we gave them a thanks for that because I think we had some party to go to or something we're supposed to do that night when I got yanked from it. So it was just
Well, I
it
mean,
was really a fun episode. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot nicer than most people's cops get arrested stories. I got worse ones than that, but that was a
really.
really fun night. That's why we thanked them. Yeah, they were nice. They didn't have to. They were supposed to keep me overnight.
wow. Did that
So
so
yeah,
that did that jail cell look like it does in Beverly Hills Cop when they put Eddie Murphy in there?
I think it did. Yeah, it was just. I think that was probably the jail cell too. It was really nice. It's super clean and like it looks like some pimped out garage with the enamel coating and everything looks so nice. I'm like, there was no one in there, and so I was like just singing. It was cool,
Well,
and
Yep.
the acoustics, big reverb chamber, so it sounded good. Yeah,
well,
yeah,
now I want to steal a car in Beverly Hills, man. After
yeah,
that
right.
story.
But that is the truth, though. Honestly, that was a fun night. It could have been a lot different, I guess, but that's
you,
how it was.
you rocked your way out of jail. Not a lot of people can say that.
Literally, he literally did.
Well, I'd like to think so. I know they didn't need to sell for more people because there was nobody else in there. So they just probably said, okay, you're harmless, get out of here. And it was that, that lady cop. She was cute. She was hair pulled back, really just, you could tell she was, it was back in the day when there weren't that many, women police. You didn't see them that much, but she was like, I think probably Hispanic mix and really, just really good looking young lady. And I was happy. That's the reason I even surrendered. I could have just jumped right in the crowd with everyone else, but I saw her. I go, how bad could it be? Get frisked by her. You better search me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so,
well.
you guys did the whole flyering thing on the strip?
Oh yeah, Flyer Wars. We were kings of that. Everybody knows those stories, right? You just fly over the other bands, and then everyone would go on top. So what we did was make giant. We had posters made. I have some around somewhere. I just don't know. I have a tube of them still, but they were 4-color, 36 by 24-inch posters that we would just add a sticker on for whatever show would apply. So they were posters we could sell. And Ricky, our bass player, he still does, runs a giant print shop. So he printed those up for dirt cheap for us. And we would use those as our flyers. And down at the Whiskey, the regular flyers, they were almost invisible because there were so many, right?
Right.
But we would put a ladder up on top of the Love Tank, which was my Dodge Ram Charger. We'd put a ladder on top of it. And at the Arco or the AMPM, right at the corner where the Whiskey is, on Sunset Boulevard, there's it's a giant billboard, and the pole's like one of those poles that's holding it up is big like a freeway pylon. And so we'd plaster our posters up there all the way up as tall as this ladder would go, and nobody could touch our flyers. So we honestly were flyer kings of the strip because no one could get up there and flyer over ours. So whenever we had a show, nobody would go up there to tear them down either. They would just leave because they looked really good. And then so we just go up there at middle of the night and put a new show date at the bottom of the posters every time we had a different show date, Whiskey, Roxy, wherever, Gazzari's, whatever. And so and to put a cap on the flyer thing, eventually, because the flyer situation was so hardcore on the strip, the mayor of the whole city, all the politicians had a big thing that they said they're going to start fining the bands when they find the flyers for these bands, right? They're going to fine them $250 a flyer and try to put the bands out of business as a deterrent to stop flyering. So they had a hearing at the Whiskey one day. So I went down there to that hearing with an idea. And so everyone's saying all the people are saying, we have to stop this madness. It's vandalizing our property, and the flyers are everywhere. Now they're creeping into people's neighborhoods and everything. And they said, well, we're going to find these bands, and then that's going to stop them in their tracks. So when it was my time, I said, I've got something to say. And they said, yes. I said, so you're saying I can take a stack of all my competition's flyers and put them up all over the place, and they're going to get fined $250 a flyer? Done. I go, I'll put them all out of business. They go, okay, we're going to scrap that idea. So no band's got fined a penny because it's just, I could literally put everyone else's flyers up there, and they're going to get, fined. So that was the big flaw in their thinking, and that was me. I'll take 100% credit for that idea.
That was your Dee Snider moment.
Yeah, exactly. It was, I guess. Yeah, you're right. So, and it wasn't as elaborate as his with TV cameras and stuff, but it was, it was important because flyers were important to the bands. But if you were there in those days or you saw pictures of what it was like, it got really bad. It was flyers over flyers over flyers over flyers, and whoever was out at 4 a.m. or something has the last flyer standing, and you could literally take them off the whole sheet, and it would be like 10 flyers thick. And so I get what the city was saying, but hey, bands got to play. We got to get our name out there. So we did our part by putting on the big AMPM pole so nobody could touch them. And, I wanted to buy a billboard, and Tower Records was still there in those days. So there was a big Tower Records on Sunset too. So we would go in there and put, they put all the bands that they were releasing, the new releases on big signs on the outside of the store. We'd sneak up there and just put our big poster right over one of them. And it's all lit up right on Sunset. So we do what we have to do. Guerrilla marketing back in the day.
Exactly. You gotta do what you gotta do.
So yeah, that's the flyer award. That's sorry
Survival
about
of
the
the
long,
fittest.
long in the tooth stories. You can edit those down, but yeah.
No, man, this is great. Uh,
This
so,
is the stuff we want.
Well, it's all 100% true so far.
so, well, did you have a favorite club to play?
Say again.
Did you have a favorite club to play? Or
I personally, but my favorite was Gazzari's because I'd been playing there for so long with other bands and stuff. And Bill was like my uncle, and he'd always go, "All right, DJ, he's a new Van Halen, new David Lee Roth, right?" He was always really cool to me and stuff. And but it's and there was a time when there were 6 stages. So at Gazzari's, there was Battle of the Bands. They'd have in the center stage there was one, and then upstairs, and then there was two on the sides of each. So there was three, literally 6 bands. One would play, then the next one, then they'd just go down the line. So it was awesome. But for audio and just the room, the Roxy up in Hollywood was always my favorite place to play. It's just
Mhm.
set up so well for concerts. And then for going to see shows there, though, I used to like going to the Whiskey a lot because I kind of ran that place a little bit. I worked with Rock City News for a while, the newspaper out of Hollywood. I worked with Ruben, and so our office was in there, so I could go in any show, anytime, day or night, to anything, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And but I did like the Whiskey a lot too. Good drinks,
Hmm.
super cool waitresses, and the stage was fun, balcony, you know. So those 3 clubs were always my favorite haunts up there. We played the Troubadour and everywhere else too. All the way down, lingerie, teaser, all those type of shows, clubs. But the ones right there on the strip were always my favorites, and those 3 in that order. I think Gazzari's because of the connection I had there, and they were always cool to us. For the sound and just the room itself, the Roxy, couldn't touch it. Great sound, killer stage, and then the Whiskey, just to go party with friends, and I had access all the time to any show, and they had a lot of national acts come through the Whiskey. So whenever
Right.
they're like
Yeah.
bigger bands were playing, like the Van Halen concert and stuff, I got right into that, no problem. I'm on their video, by the way, for that one video, Dreams, that
Oh,
they
really?
shot at the Whiskey. Yeah, look, watch that video. Look it up sometime. You'll see me right at the beginning of the video talking to the news people. They asked some questions, and I said something right there. But this is after Noize Toys. But I'm in my Primal Future T-shirt for my band, Primal Future. Yeah. But
What tours did you guys get hooked up with? You
really,
said
we just did our own tours. Um, we did like 3 state tours. We did like the Arizona circuit. We took bands out with us. We would just headline. We played Dangerous Toys also, and then we went to play Hawaii for a couple weeks out there. We were supposed to play with Motley Crue at some stadium show, but they canceled. So we ended up staying there and played 2 weeks at some club out there and just killed it, and ended up using that to do try out tunes for our second record, and which never happened. But
Oh, yeah.
that was great. And then we just did a bunch of shows like that. From just a couple different states, but never any big national tours.
okay.
Wanted to.
Do you guys ever play in Ohio? Near
Nope.
Cleveland or anything?
No, I wish. I'd still like to, man. I want to come out and play some of the Rocklahoma shows and stuff like that. It's just tough to get the band together. I haven't talked to Tripp in a couple of years, Glenn. We had been playing together and working together for like 30 years, but recently I haven't talked. He moved to Arizona, so I haven't seen him in a while. But and I can't get Doug in the band, so really it's just me. The most recent time Noize Toys played was 2018. We had a 30-year reunion at this Jezebel's
Nice.
reunion thing. We played with Witch and a bunch of other bands, and all our friends, and that was fun. But we actually had the original. Glenn played there, Ricky played, I played, and the original guitarist Pete played. So I guess it was
Oh,
an original lineup of Noize Toys. But Doug
yeah.
wasn't there, so I had to play all the leads, which is fine. But we only rehearsed one day.
Oh, wow.
So, but I sang good. I was fine.
Magic's
It,
still there.
yeah,
Uh,
it was pretty good. Trip and I just were knocking out the harmonies. That was always the funnest part for me. Um, Doug and I doing double leads, and Trip and I doing cool harmonies. And our songs, I always liked our music. The stuff that we had lined up for our second album was really good. I mean, it was super hard charging, and but we never got to do it. The most we got was a demo done that we have financed ourselves. It's just so crappy I won't really put it out. But I'm going to redo a bunch of the songs myself anyway. They're really good. Like some of them are
Uh,
just so bitchin'. They're just great songs. A couple of them where they're on, you can see videos on YouTube of a few of them.
yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was
Yeah.
just watching before we jumped here. I was watching a live video from '89.
Ah,
Uh, I think actually you were the one that uploaded that onto YouTube.
I did. I have a
um,
couple other ones that are a lot more recent than that that are
yeah,
really good, like the
yeah, I
whole
would love to
shows.
see those. I would
I
love
know
to see those.
everybody would. A lot
That'd
of
be
people
great to
say
see.
that, but I think I'm gonna sell T-shirt, and if anybody buys a T-shirt, they'll get the video. I'm putting together. I'm trying to cut together. I have a friend that's going to cut together. The guy that works for me is going to cut together a DVD of like a Noize Toys anthology with a bunch of stills, and we're going to try to do some interviews with the guys and shit like that. Just hasn't been enough time, but the videos are really just the videos from '89 are from before. I think it's after we signed our deal, but before we had all our endorsements and all that stuff, and before all our big racks of amps and shit. And so we ended up, with all our BC Rich guitars and endorsements and all our custom clothes and all the everything else, is in the later shows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have somebody clean them up, and but
So
the audio is good.
have you ever been approached by any of these revival labels that?
Every one of them.
So what happened there?
Uh, I could do it myself just as easy, but
Yeah.
I Trip and I have not been. He's been trying to downplay it ever happy. He's like, Noize Toys is something I just want to, be done with. And I go, well, fine, I'm going to re-release it anyway. But
Right.
part of me says it's not like I'm going to make any money off it. I already uploaded all the tracks somewhere, so anyone can just download them. But to re-release the album, I'm like, I like them going for $80 on eBay. You know, I think it looks cool. The Japanese ones are some of them are $100. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
the original ones, and I have a stack of them.
You
Of
want you want
everything.
to keep you want to keep the mystery going. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a time and a place for everything, and I'm working on this project as I mentioned with the VR stuff and everything, and
Hmm.
if I can kind of see, I'm not sure if I want to do a Noize Toys itself thing or just like all my music through the years because I got like so many different bands and I got tons of music. I'm not sure just how to release everything, but Noize Toys will be back out. But if we do it, I want to do it with a DVD. I don't not necessarily want to do a CD. I kind of want to just do a digital release with 1,000 photos that no one's ever seen of all these different stages of the band and kind of montage them out and then add all these other demo tracks that I'm going to re-record and have the original guys put their stuff on them too. So the demos can be on there, which would have been like an EP or most of our second album, and just kind of release the whole thing saying, here's the Noize Toys anthology, stuff you know, stuff you don't know, including stories like I'm telling you now, and so many photos. I have literally shoe boxes full of photos from 100 photo shoots that no one's ever seen that we
Nice.
did all over the place, from
Well, that
before,
sounds interesting. Yeah.
so many, and a lot of them are really good, and and a lot of crazy stuff too. So I'm just not sure how to release it. I think if I just release the album itself, it'd just be like throw it in the pile with everybody else's re-release. I could probably do both, but you know, I
Well, Dave and I are vinyl collectors, so if you plan on releasing it on vinyl again, you got two sales here.
Yeah,
well
at least
anything
get two.
anything we release is going to be on vinyl also, but it'll be like on a like my guitar. You see my guitar, right? Can you see that over
Yeah.
there? No.
Yeah, yeah.
That's custom made for me by the guy at BC Rich. I told him how I wanted. He painted it right in front of me, but uh, I think the vinyl would be looking like that, like just super crazy, and not just the easy rainbow swirl. I want to make it really difficult, So I just want to make it look cool, And another thing, the vinyl. One of my buddies in the tech field has lenticular vinyl, so it's you can turn it's. We could have a picture on it, and you could turn the record, and it'll change like to 4 or 5 different pictures or whatever,
Oh wow.
as Yeah, and so
That would be cool.
fuck yeah. So once that gets done, that goes on the inside of like two pieces of vinyl slammed together, and then you stamp it and groove it. So once that's perfected, I think we might probably be the first guys to release that, and so both sides could have a different picture, and the picture could move. Like we could, do some kind of cool movement, like with the mic stand or something, and it'll move back and forth, which I think would be cool, right?
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah. So
Buy a
I just
couple.
want to make something worth it, if we're gonna do it. But and
Yeah.
I want to remaster the record. To be honest with you, when I moved to this place, I have cases and cases and crates of old demos and shit like that, and I'm just looking for. I've been trying to hunt down our old masters from Noize Toys, but when Dr. Dream sold, he sold all his Dave Hayes, which is another thing that pissed me off a little bit. He sold all the masters to all these old things to not Capitol Records, Chrysalis, or somebody. It was some label, and they fucking
Right.
just threw them all out.
Oh no.
So those masters are gone. So I'm like, I got to have at least a DAT master somewhere, because I was the one that took our record up to LA to get it mastered myself and everything. The took the actual vinyl thing up there in the CD. So I was the guy that did it, but I had to bring it back. I'm like, I know I got a DAT somewhere. So if I can find that, I just want to remaster it, because some of the audio on it just is not up to par, and I'd like I want to put bonus tracks on it too. So if we're gonna re-release it, I'd like to slam some bonus tracks on it, make it worth something,
Yeah,
maybe and release the album like it was supposed to look. If you look at that record here, hold up that CD, I'll tell you something. Okay, the girl is supposed to have her top is supposed to be bright red like it is,
Yeah.
and her pants are supposed to be like blue jeans. They made her all black and white. It was supposed to be the whole world's black and white except for tits and ass. That was our whole theme. But they refused to make her top red, and they also refused to put our logo on there. Our shattered, our sideways type of shattered
Yeah,
logo.
like on the
They wouldn't.
inside.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't put
Yeah.
similar to that. They wouldn't put it on the record, so those things. And they misspelled Glenn's name, typo on the album. Look on the back. It says Glenn Holland with
Oh,
a
it's
C.
Glenn Holland. Yeah.
Glenn. I still give him shit about, hey Glenn, and but so those are the things about Dr. Dream that kind of bugged me. I felt like where it counted to me, and some of the the devil's in the details, and they kind of I wasn't asking for too much, just our logo.
So
You know.
why didn't they want to put the logo in?
I have no idea. They couldn't be bothered with answering our our disputes. We had to I just said, hey, just put the logo on there, and you're supposed to knock her everything black and white but her top. That's the idea.
Right.
And but they wouldn't do it. And so those little things. If I was going to re-release it, I would fix those things. I can clone out that thing, stamp our logo on the top, make her tube top bright red, fix Clen's name, and and then add a couple bonus tracks. And I think those type of things would make it. I know it wouldn't be an exact re-release, but it would be the way it was supposed to be originally. And
Right.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. But so yeah, a lot of those companies they still talk to me about it. Re-release it, and they'll pay for everything, and we just we'll get $1 a record or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'd
so
rather.
what about the royalties stuff? Do you have those demos or?
Oh yeah, some of those are really good. Yeah, there's a couple songs that Noize Toys was gonna do. One of Royalties songs, that "Do You Want It," that's on that record, that was one of my songs from Royalties. But a couple ones like "Love Pusher" that Noize Toys was gonna do. It's a really good bluesy song. It's on that other video that I was talking about, on one of those videos. And songs like "Virgin Island" and "You Turn Me On" and everything, they're really good songs. And I recorded those when I was a kid, but that means like 22 or something like that. But the music's good, and that's it's kind of similar to Noize Toys anyway, which is why we kind of it made sense that I was going to play with that band. The musicianship was a little different. Royalties was kind of really intricate breaks and bridges and riffs and stuff, and the timing is all intense. Good harmonies. The demos are great, for what they are for being from the '80s, early '80s. And Kurt Radmaker was the bass player in that band. He plays in, I think, every cover band on the planet now, but he's still the best bass player I know. And so the music was great. He'll still play if I had him come down and lay some tracks with me a little while ago, and I'd love to get Royalties back together. That would be great. We were just a trio, but we had a couple other when we were going to play with PIL and at the amphitheater, and we also played the Santa Ana Stadium gig. I hired another guitarist so I could dance around, and jump around and front half the stuff, because I didn't want to be strapped down to the guitar the whole time. So, but that was fun. And I got some videos from that show too, from the show with Poison and all that. It was a really fun show. That was my first, 5,000 plus seater.
Oh, wow.
Back then it was, and we dominated that show as far as I could tell. I've actually booked that whole show with I hired the promoter to get Poison, Hurricane, and Warrant and all those bands, to play. So that was pretty fun. That was Warrant before Janie Lane.
Oh,
is the other singer. I didn't know who he was, but the rest of the band I think was the same. And so they opened for us, and then after us it was, I think, Hurricane, then Leatherwolf, then Poison. So it was a fun show. Yeah.
That's a great
That's a
night.
great night.
It was bitching. We called it the Virgin Island Tour '86, and I made so much money on T-shirts in that show, and I made T-shirts, frisbees, and stickers, and I was pretty clever to make our stickers. We were gonna, before I sold them as stickers, I told the promoters, these are our backstage passes, right? So I would just give them out to all the chicks. We had like 50 people backstage. Just, I gave my girlfriend to Bret Michaels that night. Here, man, T-shirts. And it was fun. And I played with a 10-foot python on stage for Love Pusher, and my stripper girlfriend came out, and I put the snake on her dancing on stage. It was good stuff. But yeah, that's so Royalties was a fun band to play. And we got pretty far on the MTV Basement Tapes, the first version of that. We did a video at Guitarys called 7 and 7, which was kind of like our local hit song. It was playing on, they used to have drive-in movies out here everywhere, and there was a local radio station, KEZY, that played all the rock. So I hooked up with one of the DJ chicks there, took one for the team, and got our music in rotation on there. And then they in turn played our music on every Southern California drive-ins in between the movies. So you'd hear we'd go to the drive-ins and sneak in just to hear our music playing in the crappy little speakers, But that was pretty cool. We were doing actually really well. I probably shouldn't have quit that band in hindsight, but we had like a couple big managers looking at us and stuff like that too. We were always playing up in Hollywood. We were a good band, but Noize Toys was by far, the funnest stuff we ever did. We just had everything you've seen with Motley Crue, The Dirt, and Poison, and Def Leppard behind the scenes type stuff. We had it going on exactly like that, if not better. And we had our apartment up there, and we just didn't have to worry about scrutiny in the spotlight, of cameras everywhere. So we were still living that exact dream, and
right.
Headlining our shows, and it was just good times. Porn stars and pop parties. It was just great.
Rock and roll.
It was. So anyway, I sorry again to go off on the stories, but yeah.
No, I mean that's
why we're here.
That's why we're here, exactly. Yeah. Did you ever play with Legs Up?
Say again?
Did you ever play with Legs Up, the band?
It's very possible. I honestly, if I didn't fuck them or fight them, I don't have any idea. We played so many shows.
Well, I say that because Danny, the guitar, at one point he was a guitarist for the band, and he's a great friend of ours. So
it's possible. I know their band. I know that I've seen their ads a million times in the magazines. It's totally possible, but I don't know. When we were playing, we were always headlining. So yeah. I'm not even sure who was supporting us every night. We were Noize Toys from the time we hit Hollywood, we were just only headlining shows, and we did
Yeah.
a lot of them. So anytime like people post up all these old flyers and old stuff, I'm always looking at them and the old ads for magazines because there's a good chance our band's in there sometimes. We're in there so often.
Yeah.
You know, and we did a lot of those. A lot of a couple of these like Bartlett and a couple of these other promoters would put together bands where it was like a singer from every band would come and play and a guitarist for every band. It was just all these big jams. We did so many of those too. Like I just can't even tell you all the different bands. There's so many good bands of that in those days. We were not the best band, but we were one of the best promoters, and we were a great live show. You know,
Hmm.
I would always point to Doug and say, "You don't think we're the best? Shred over him," because Doug was so blazing. And our live show was always really entertaining. So that was, and we were well rehearsed, and we were a good time. So there was there was no denying that. A lot of bands were really serious, or the songs were just not there. You know, and I always
Right.
felt like our songs had uh, enough juice, and the new stuff we were coming up with was really good. If I had any like regrets, it was that we didn't get to do our second record because the production would have been better, and the songs were really, really good. It was a great sophomore record. It still will be. I'm recording some of the songs now, re-recording some of them myself. I'm trying to get
Nice.
Doug to play on them, but I can do the work anyway. But I want to have him play. I can have Ricky play on it too. Um, I'll get everybody to throw in their 2 cents. I'll get Trip to play drums on it. I really want Ray Luzier to play him. you know, but
I mean,
he's my dream drummer.
yeah. Well, I'm eager to listen to that. I'm sure it's
Yeah, me
great.
too.
So what's your take on what killed this trip? Was it just the Seattle scene becoming popular, or do you, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, from my perspective, it it died overnight from Nirvana. I just remember the tidal wave of everything just changing the way everyone was dressing. Like the next show, everyone's in flannel and starting to look greasy. And
Mm.
same time, Guns N' Roses went from puffy hair to just a straight down hair and blue jeans. And
Yeah.
and I remember, like I said, I did the gig with we were on tour. We were doing our Hawaii gig, testing out our songs, and it was a great show. Great bunch of shows, 10 nights in a row or 2 weeks or something. And the best, it was the best test audience for us because in Honolulu, aircraft carrier just dumped like 1,000 Navy seamen in Honolulu, so they just came flooding down to Waikiki where we were, and so our shows were packed every night, every night, every night, and we were playing Gunnin' for You, dedicating it to the troops, and they would just go wild. And so we had a really good audience to bounce our songs off of. And then when we got back, it was like the whole scene had changed, and so uh, we could have done the same thing all the other bands did, right? Change our look,
Right.
mix things up, go to denim and leather, and put on a cowboy hat or whatever, and or just get not shower for a week and go for it. Um, save us time puffing up our hair. Um, so we could have done that, but I think Trip, Glenn, he already had his sights on doing something else, and Ricky also wanted to start another band. So we just kind of dissolved when we got back, and from Hawaii, and that might have been our last shows together for all I know, for all I remember. And um, Doug got approached by I Napoleon to
Oh.
join their band, so he joined their band, and I'm like, fine. I had a house up in the hills at that time, anyway, a giant house up in Hollywood Hills, my own 4 acre thing up there where it's corn and everybody's coming up to my house to party. And I know all those guys, right? And Trent Reznor's up there, and Mark Mothersbaugh, and Weird Al Yankovic, and
Hmm.
Lemmy, and just the whole. It was always parties in my house, and I was just starting. I just hooked up with Marvel, who wanted to start doing video games, and on CD-ROM video games. So I did the score for their first one of those and put one of my band's videos in it and started a new band with my buddy up there. And I go, fuck it, those guys are doing their thing. I'll just do mine. So we started Primal Future, and just knocked out a bunch of stuff with that. And that album is wicked, man. That's one of my favorite records. I just recorded the whole thing on like blowing Yukon Jack in like 3 months on a tiny recorder in my house up there, and it's just so nasty, wicked. It's bitching, man. I'll send you one of those. If I have one here, I'll show it to you. It's so cool. They're buried over here somewhere, but give me 1 second. I'll show you the cover of this thing, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Hold on. It's pretty cool. You like it? Ah. All right, so I don't know if you can see this. And this one is let me see. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. It's like a samurai or something like that.
Oh, it's our superhero. It's got Dave Dorman did this for us. He's like one of the most famous cover art guys from all the comics and shit. But it's Primal Future. It's half Primal. The sticker that's covering it though is that it was a limited release for the Comic-Con back in '97 or something. So we were signing stuff there. But it's half me of the Primal side, and Future was my buddy Jen Starion. So he's like a cyborg. It's half and half, and then like we have our own trading card, and
that's cool.
All this shit. Yeah, he's one of the characters in the game, I guess, and then there's our logo. It's pretty bitchin'.
Wow.
And we have the cool artwork, and it's just a really cool. It was a cool project. Like we had some guys put together this gnarly artwork and shit. It's just me and one other guy. It's weird, huh?
I'm assuming that's a lot more heavier, right?
Oh yeah, it's gnarly, and some of it is. But it's really it's kind of experimental for us back in the day, and but it's pretty cool. It's just me and one other guy. I played most of the stuff just all of it myself, and he did keyboards and vocals on a lot of the songs, and then it's shredding, But anyway, so I said, I'll just do this. I want to, because I always like playing heavy stuff anyway. I grew up playing, ELP and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and just Dixie Dregs and stuff. That's where I just loved super. I was a Guitar Hero fan when I was a kid. So my sister used to go out with Michael Schenker. So he'd come over to our house to pick her up, and I'd go, dude, just sign my, show me another riff or something. I was like 14, and he goes, I go, just tell me. I had a White Flying V, I was such a Schenker fan from Strangers in the Night album, and I go, dude, just give me some advice. He goes, just use your pinky. I never used my pinky. I should have used my pinky. I go, okay. So I started using my pinky. But so anyway, yeah, that's what I did after we broke up. I go, okay, I'll just start doing this, and we sold a bunch of records, and I had realized years before that all the money's in merchandise. So, off of Noize Toys, we sold records. I'd get like $1. I sell a T-shirt, I get like $12.
Right.
So I made T-shirts for $3 and sold them for $15. And I sold a lot of T-shirts, and that's how I'd would end up making a pretty good sum of money, and just like one of my lines is this, until you can download a T-shirt, that's where the money is. I give away, I'll give away my albums for free. If you buy a T-shirt, I'll give you the record, no problem.
Well, that's a good trade, yeah.
It sounds like a Gene Simmons move.
Well, it just makes sense. I mean, and so. And we can, with the advent of one-off printing anyway, print on demand, I can customize T-shirts for anybody. So I haven't focused on that lately, but that's Primal Future. I got married, my first wedding, so we split up and went our separate ways. We had an argument over percentage of the band off a couple of video game soundtracks and stuff, but we're still good friends. The album's bitching. I'll send you one of those, man. Yeah, I'll point you. I'll just point you to the to download link so you can download the stuff. It'd be easier. And then
Yeah.
if you still want a CD afterwards, I think I got 100 of them laying around. But they're all some of these limited edition out of 1,000. We only sold like 700 or 800 of them at the Comic Con, and which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I ended up taking some of these. I go, how could I get those fucking stickers off? But yeah, anyway. And it's got it. This is in the early days of CD-ROM. So there's a video on here that if you played the game, it's called Skyborg Into the Vortex. It's Marvel's first interactive video game. And if you play the game, you go into this one of the rewards. If you go into this certain movie hall or something, the curtains open, it plays my video. And the video on here is pretty wicked.
Oh, nice.
You could see it on my video channel. I think it's called Can't Turn Off the TV, and we shot that. It's pretty cool. But I don't know if there's a good version of it up there or not. There's two versions. One's for the video game where we have their cards integrated with it and everything else. The other one's the uncensored version that we shot. So got all kinds of porn in the background and stuff. Well, animated porn.
Video.
Yeah, it's art. If it's animated, it's art.
Yeah, but it was like Urutsuki Dochi and stuff like that. I was the first guy to bring that stuff into the country from Japan, so I helped import that with one of my buddy's companies. Anyway, let's get back to it. What do you want? Am I running long in the tooth here?
So, so after that, you went straight into production and the stuff you're working on nowadays, right? Or was there any other band that you're part of?
A bunch of different bands that we never really did much. I played a bunch of little shows. There was like one summer I just went out playing with my guitar case in a van. And after my first divorce, I had no kids, no real nothing. I got rid of my house up in the hills, and I left her with the house in Hermosa that we moved to. So I was just like free range chicken. So I just grabbed a couple guitars and went out, got myself a little van, actually not little, but a cool van, and just went out and just played at the beach and played at downtown Laguna and played in the streets at Venice and just went out there sitting there just playing guitar all day, and it was fun. I wasn't starving or anything. It was just really fun to do, and it got me playing a lot of songs because I had sold songs in the past to a bunch of different artists. Whether it's Hart or James Taylor, those type of people, I'd sold music, and some of it they never even released, but they bought songs. And so that was just acoustic stuff. So I just brought my 12-string and my ukulele and my acoustic out there and just started minting a ton of new songs. And I'm trying to put together a movie for my kids with a bunch of those songs even right now. It's really cool. So I can sit there and just serenade any chick in 2 seconds really well. It's just me and a guitar. That's all one of my other lines is all I ever need is a guitar, a surfboard, and a siphon hose, and I'm good to go. I lived that way for a while. So then, a couple bands in and out and nothing serious. Went in the corporate world for a while, still have my irons in that fire and still, own a consulting company and production. So I consult with, different McDonald's and Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, Bank of America, Chase, just everybody. So I don't know why they give a shit what my little team has to say, but they do. So, paychecks are pretty good.
Good.
And
good.
so, but now I'm, I got a birthday coming up. My birthday's on Halloween. And
wow.
Yeah, and me and Carrie Howe from Leatherwolf used to have the same birthday. We used to celebrate it all the time together. Same age, and so.
Same age, like 22?
Say again?
Same age, like 22, 23?
No, man, I don't need to fake that, but I'm on the high side of 50, but but I really want to get back out and play. I'm just itching so bad, and I'm in good shape, and I'm playing good. I did have one little setback for a year ago. I could send you a picture of it. You can paste it in, where I broke my hand in 8 places.
Oh.
And a year ago, April, on a bicycle accident. I mean, I've been riding my Harley and my bikes and everything my whole life. Never had a wreck like that. And my daughter was her first time without training wheels. And so she's riding behind me and she was heading right for me. So I turned off the sidewalk so she wouldn't hit me. and
Yeah.
then my wheel caught the lip of the sidewalk, and the bike just straight down. I land on my hand. I look, my big fingers were pointing backwards. All these four. I'm
Oh
like,
man.
no, that's not good. And they're going. My kids are going, Dad, are you okay? I go, we're gonna ride home now. And I just went crunch, and I went and looked. So I got 5 screws still in my fingers. One here, 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 and here.
Oh my
And
god.
you could even see the screw popping out. So they're gonna be in there forever. But I got the best orthopedic surgeon for my hand, and they put the screws right in it, and I started the exercises, and it hurts a little, but I can still play fine. So I could play fine like a month after. But that was kind of a little setback. I was like, oh shit, am I ever going to be able to play again? I better get the right doctor. It costs a lot of money, but and so I go through X-rays at the airport. And I'm Terminator, so I can Wolverine, and but I can still play. My pinky's just a little bit Michael Shankery, but I can play. I can still play. So I can play
Nice.
anything I used to be able to with reasonably well. So that was a little scary though. And I recently went and played on stage with my buddies at one of my longtime buddies in our area, Dave DeBest. He he died of alcohol poisoning or whatever way before his time. So there was he was everyone's friend down here. So we did a celebration of life concert with everybody from the area, everybody, all that I don't know if it was Stone Temple Pilots guys or something, but then there was like all the Leatherwolf and Mike Oliveris and all the other bands in the area and stuff. So I went up and played a couple songs, and then I sat there and played Lucky Man for him, for his wife on the 12th string. I did pretty good, and and that was kind of a test for my first test. That was not very long after I had my finger fucked up, so it was like 6 months later, but it
Yeah.
played. So I can still play them. I've been if I warm up for an hour, I can play almost anything
Hmm.
within reason. I'll stop at Dream Theater, but because it's just too blazing. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm writing new material. Going to record the. I have a hit list of stuff I'm trying to knock out. One is the Noize Toys album and demos. I'm redoing all those because I really want to put the songs out. They're just not good enough. The recordings are terrible. They're like we were just recorded on a 2-track, live with crappy mics and everything in a hurry before, so we had demo tapes to hand out in Arizona or something, or in
Right.
Vegas. So they're shitty, and then I have a couple other songs, good demos, or shitty demos of good songs, where the playing isn't that good or it's sloppy because we're just trying to get the ideas down. But the songs are good, so I'm going to re-record those. My studio is great, and I'll try if I can't get Tripp and those guys to play, I do it myself in their style pretty easily. But I know Tripp can. I just send him a track with a click on it and everything else done, and say just play the drums, man. You know, and then I'll send it back to him and say sing some backups. You know, and I'm sure he'll do it. So once I get that done, then I'm trying to do this stuff. I'm really trying to sell this movie that I'm putting together to I'm trying to get it through Lin Manuel Miranda, through a couple contacts at Disney. I've worked with them over the years on a number of things, and if I can get, I really want to do this movie with my kids, and I think that would be a big breakthrough for me. I'd be doing the songs for it, and the movie itself is just a bitchin' the whole concept is great about uh, kids with 2 big mirrors in their house, and it's inspired by a mirror that fell on my daughter, a big wall-sized mirror, and she
Yeah.
pulled it off the wall, and it fell right on top of her, and I just heard it crash. I was in my studio, and
Oh my
I came out, and all I could see was the mirror there, and I was like, I lifted it up. I thought she was going to be cut to ribbons, and I lifted it up, and the mirror was stuck on the mastic part of the mirror so much that not even one piece of glass came off, nothing. So she was just in fetal position on the floor, a little bit sore, but not one cut, and the whole mirror was just like in 1,000 pieces, and
god. Oh
so
wow.
it was just so mind blowing, and I was looking all over the place, going, I was freaking out, and this is like 2-3 years ago, and then at my old house, And then we have another mirror like it upstairs. So I bolted that one onto the wall really quick. They were just big wall-sized mirrors. You just lean on, with frames on, you just lean them against. And I didn't think for a second that she would pull it over on her. But this movie is about these two mirrors in a kid's house that's a portal. And when the mirror fell on her, I lift it up, and she's not there. And so it's this search. You have to go through the other mirror to go from one to the other type of thing. And there's the whole lives pass in between. But through over the course of all these years, the dad just keeps trying to go back in and and find his daughter. And then one mirror breaks, the other mirror breaks, so there's no way out now. But when they finally find her, she's had her whole life in there, and because time passes different or something, and she doesn't want to come back. Okay. And so it's like it's a really cool movie, but in the movie during the course of it, she goes through all these different careers and lives and all these different things. So anything she sets her mind to, it just happens in this mirror universe type of thing. And the movie's going to be called, the working title is Believe. And so it's like anything you want to do, you can do. And the title track's really cool.
So you're writing the script for that? Oh,
yeah, I've already written the treatment, and I'm just going through scene by scene. I start with the big picture and then just knock it down to work towards the middle because I have the story done. Then I'll bring in maybe another writing partner later on. But the theme of it's really cool. The idea is kind of unique, and it's really just empower kids to you can do whatever you want to do, and at some point parents have to let go a little. So it's going to be that type of thing. Anyway, that's kind of just so I've been putting as much energy as I can into that, but I still want to I still have this VR thing now that there's a huge upside potential there. So it's where do I put that balance of my baby project here, and then my side project filling out the Noize Toys catalog type thing, and then doing this VR thing, which is really moving forward pretty quickly now.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what those are my main irons in the fire. And I'm divorced twice, but my kids are great, and my ex-wife's really cool. She has we're in really good terms, and she has a company called Riot Stitch. If you go on Facebook or something, you can see her. Her name's Sherry Lou, but she designs rock star clothes now, and she's a really has a big corporate job where in logistics, makes a ton of money, and but her passion's always been clothing design. So she does all these amazing rock star clothes for all these rockers and all these bands. So we're on good terms, and at least I know when I'm going out on the road, I got my clothes hooked up. And,
wardrobe is not an issue.
Yeah, and but that's kind of what I'm doing, and I talked to Ricky more than anyone from the band. Trip and I were thick as thieves for many years. Had a company together, that consulting firm. He and I started together for like 10 years, and but we split up, and he moved. His wife passed away a couple of years ago, really young, and so that kind of rocked his world a little bit and set him on a different path, understandably so.
Yeah.
It was difficult. It was only like 4 years ago or something. So, but I'd still love to, I'll reconnect with him. His birthday's coming up in a week. I'm gonna surprise him at his door. 2 hookers and a bottle, or a hooker, or 1 hooker and 2 bottles. I'm not sure yet. I was able to find out his address. I'm gonna go surprise him. And
that's awesome.
So that's kind of what I want to do. And in the meantime, I'm just getting all my chops together. I'm easy on stage, man. I'm at home there, so that's really what I like doing. If I could pick just one thing or go back in time, and I wouldn't change any of the stuff from the old days, except maybe the band doing a little, hitting one more higher plateau. Maybe a big national tour would have been good.
Right.
And really would have liked to do one video, but you can't change the past. But I have no complaints. I mean, life's been pretty good for me. People still like my old band, right? From Noize Toys from a million years ago. And, the video's still fun to watch sometimes, and I got these other videos, so there's going to be more coming on that, and I'll let friends of the band like you and definitely have first crack at seeing the stuff before I put it out.